The majority of people accept modern science as an absolute truth. Once they are presented with a statement from somebody in a white coat with impressive certificates on their wall from some exclusive academic institution, they rarely contemplate or question what they are being told. The fact is, what the majority of people don't realise is that their modern scientists are akin to the clergy of any religious organisation who work together to form an agreed upon narrative which then shapes the reality of their prospective believers. Take, for example, the theory of evolution, the Big Bang theory, the theory of light, or the theory of gravity. What these theories rely on to give them the appearance of being a fact is something called concept of a proof. In other words, modern science has changed the definition of what a theory is by now calling it scientific theory. Basically, when a modern science acolyte is proclaiming to you evolution or the Big Bang is factual because it's a scientific theory, what they are saying is that these theories are supposedly so close to proof that they may as well be accepted as proof, even though in reality they are not proven and may not even be close to being proven if even one of their corroborating calculations turns out to be incorrect. In that instance, it could reduce something that was claimed to be 95% proven back down to 40% proven. Some examples of how they use concept of a proof to claim almost proof is absolute fact is by claiming genetic mutations or adaptation of a species to a new environmental condition proves the theory of evolution, even though there are still huge gaps of evidence missing from their supposition. Or they will claim the evolution of stars and galaxies and heavy elements and the existence of the cosmic microwave background proves the Big Bang. But again, it's not proof. While they may provide some strong evidence to support their theories, they still aren't proven. Regardless, the majority of people accept these unproven theories of evolution and the Big Bang as an absolute fact, when the truth is they are hinging their entire understanding of reality on the unproven beliefs relayed to them by a small group of people. This paragraph from an article published in Forbes magazine and authored by Ethan Siegel explains the limitations of even the most mathematical of sciences, theoretical physics. Theoretical physics is responsible for theories such as black holes, dark matter, the motion of energy, the existence of particles, and even the age of the universe. Even in theoretical physics, the most mathematical of all the sciences, our proofs aren't on entirely solid ground. If the assumptions we make about the underlying physical theory or its mathematical structure no longer apply, if we step outside the theory's range of validity, we'll prove something that turns out not to be true. If someone tells you a scientific theory has been proven, you should ask them what they mean by that. Normally they mean they've convinced themselves that this thing is true, or they have overwhelming evidence that a specific idea is valid over a specific range. But nothing in science can ever truly be proven. It's always subject to revision. Now let's just look at that last sentence of that paragraph. It's always subject to revision. When was the last time you saw any mainstream physics model or the theory of evolution revised? How many times do these scientists find a new phenomena in our universe only to present this find in the media with the headline that claims this new discovery is not doing what it should or is puzzling scientists? This is because rather than our scientific community admitting that perhaps their current model is incorrect and needs to be revised, they will instead claim that the newly discovered phenomena is at fault or behaving in a way they don't understand because they haven't yet created an equation that makes it fit into their approved model. And how can they now admit that perhaps they need to revise their models when the entire population now accepts these current theories as absolute fact and the basis of their entire reality and belief system? If their science gods were to admit that perhaps their theories of the Big Bang, light particles, or the physics model of the sun was incorrect, it would shock the very foundation of their stable and safe world and cause fear in the masses who look to these scientists to keep their reality secure in the belief that their scientists are infallible and all-knowing. There are even studies which confirm that the public will have more trust in a person if they are wearing a white coat and assume that they are highly educated and a competent authority in the area of science or medicine. It's called the white coat effect. The fact is that many of the theories the public take for an absolute truth are not even logical or mathematically possible if put under any real scrutiny. Take, for example, this paragraph from an article published in the Wall Street Journal in 2014 by Eric Metaxas regarding the theory of the Big Bang. The fine-tuning necessary for life to exist on a planet is nothing compared with the fine-tuning required for the universe to exist at all. For example, astrophysicists now know that the values of the four fundamental forces, gravity, the electromagnetic force, and the strong and weak nuclear forces, were determined less than 1/1,000,000th of a second after the Big Bang. Alter any one value and the universe could not exist. For instance, if the ratio between the nuclear strong force and the electromagnetic force had even been off by the tiniest fraction of the tiniest fraction, by even 1 part in 1/4,000,000,000, then no stars could have ever been formed at all. Multiply that single parameter by all the other necessary conditions, and the odds against the universe existing are so heart-stoppingly astronomical that the notion that it all just happened defies common sense. It would be like tossing a coin and having it come up heads 10 quintillion times in a row. And now, over the last few years, we are seeing more and more information starting to surface regarding all the deceitful and fraudulent behaviour in the scientific community when it comes to peer-reviewed research papers. This article, published in the ABC this week, details a few of these cases of fraud. 12 recent retractions in the journal Neural Computing and Applications noted evidence of peer review manipulation. People try and fake everything, said Ivan Oransky, who has spent years researching scientific misconduct on his blog Retraction Watch. You see, The sock puppet authors, where either it's a real person who someone has added to the paper, maybe they're hoping they don't notice, Dr. Arinsky said. Other times, they create entire personas so that those people, these fake people, the sock puppets, can then cite their work. Dr. Aransky said the number of retractions had increased exponentially. In 2000, there were 40. In 2020, there were over 2,500 retractions. 40 to 2,500 is, 60-fold growth. That to me is almost exclusively about sleuths rather than the more scrutiny of papers. I will link the Retraction Watch website and articles featured in this video in the description section for those who want to look into this further. But just consider this. If this is the extent of fraud being uncovered and 99% of modern science is still theory, just how many of these theoretical physics papers, which humanity now hinges their entire understanding of reality on, contain faked research and data? I will finish this video with a paragraph from Introduction to Falsinelli's Le Mystère de Cathedralis by Walter Lang. To the alchemist, all phenomena of the universe are combinations of a single prime energy, inaccessible to the ordinary senses. Only a minute cross-section of the total cosmic spectrum is bent by the senses and so rendered tangible. Science has defined this minute abstraction as its total return and is therefore condemned to turn endlessly inside a nutshell of its own making, learning ever more and more about less and less.